This week, my flight gets attacked by lasers. I set my sights on a replacement for my pickup truck.
So cool. I need one of those in my life.
And I ride on perhaps the smelliest plane I've ever been on.
It has an aroma. It's a bit grim.
As I take a flight across Indonesia on their brand new ultra low-cost airline, Super Air Jet.
Welcome back to Jakarta in Indonesia. Now, I've got a bit of an issue because I was supposed to be flying with an airline now to Bali, Denpasar. They've just changed my flight to leave like really late tonight, which means that I've got barely any time there before I have to get on my next flight. So I've had to book another flight tonight to go over there, and the only one that's going to get me there in time tonight is an airline called Super Air Jet, who is an airline that I have seen before, never really thought about flying, so why not go and see what they're like? Let's go and head inside to the terminal and we'll figure out what it's like flying on them across to Denpasar. This is a bit grim, isn't it? It's a bit like Victoria bus station in Nottingham. All the boarded up shops and everything. Crikey. That's so cool. I need one of those in my life. How you doing? Indian boarding pass. Alright, thank you. So we're flying on these guys tonight, Super Air Jet, who are an ultra low-cost airline here in Indonesia. I don't have to check in here, I've already checked in online. I've got my boarding pass, so let's see if we can head straight through security and down to the gate. I'm not sure if I've actually been through this terminal before. This is very similar to the one that I flew through when I did Lion Air last year. It might even be the same one. It's weird they've got all these like little kind of pagoda things all linked together. I think this is the terminal that Lion Air used to go from. Unless it's the same as their terminal, I don't know. Right, anyway, through security, plenty of time, let's go down to the gate. So Super Air Jet are a really interesting airline. 2 years ago, they didn't even exist. And they started up in 2021, and now they've got 61 Airbus A320s, and they're still getting more. They serve destinations the length and breadth of Indonesia with their low-cost airline model. Denpasar flights, they have dozens of flights to Denpasar every day from Bali, and that's just Denpasar. Everywhere else in Indonesia seems to get service from them as well several times a day. It's crazy, and yet they still manage to make it work. So it's really interesting to see just the speed at which they're growing, really. Aviation in Indonesia, it's not traditionally had the best reputation, you see, over the years, safety-wise and things like that. They've never really been up there, I have to say it. But airlines like Super Air Jet are coming along and whipping up all the business and seemingly making a great deal of it and all.
But pretty soon it was time to head down to the gate and get on board my flight with Super Air Jet.
Thank you.
Now I do have to be honest, the first time I stepped on board this flight I thought I was being welcomed on board by a security guard, but actually this is the uniforms that they wear at Super Air Jet. Their A320s have 180 seats in a pretty tight 3-3 configuration. This one's 11 years old and previously flew for the Indian low-cost airline Indigo.
And welcome on board the Super Air Jet Airbus A320. It's a bit dated and it has an aroma. I don't know what it is. Sort of a musty smell. Yeah. But anyway, this is what it's like. We've got like adverts on the seat trays. The legroom is surprisingly not. Ouch. Okay, the legroom's a bit tight. I thought I was going to say it was okay, but anyway. But it's only like a 2-hour ride, I think, across to Denpasar from here in Jakarta. But yeah, it's a little tight then, isn't it? The legroom looks great. It's a bit grim, but hey. It's a ride out of here. It's going to get me to Denpasar. There's a Sriwijaya 737 there. I think that's CLE. That's the one I went on. Up to Janjong Panjang, whatever it was called, over in the north of Indonesia last time I was here. But anyway, we're on board.
let's get out of here. So I've just been having a little look. This plane is actually formerly owned by Indigo Airlines in India, which would probably explain the blue seats that we've got going on here and the blue floor and everything else that we've got going on here. Yeah, so that's where this plane is from originally. Super Airjet took hold of it last year, I think, so it's a bit beat up, it's a bit tired, it's a bit old and battered, a bit like me in many ways. But hopefully it's airworthy and it'll get us to where we need to go. You know, I think I figured out what the smell is. It's the same smell as on the Greyhound bus that I did. That's probably why it smells so sickly to me. Ew. It's Greyhound smell. With that in mind then, perhaps it's something of a relief that it wasn't too long before we were pushing back to get on our way, in the hopes that I could soon bring my Greyhound PTSD-induced flashbacks to an end as soon as possible. As we took off from Jakarta and turned towards Bali, our plane was hit by a moron on the ground shining a laser at us. This is so dangerous to aviation as it can blind the pilot, yet it still seems to be a problem in many areas of the world, and seemingly that includes Jakarta as well. Our route tonight then took us east out of Jakarta, across Indonesia and into Bali. Flight time tonight, 1 hour 27 minutes, cruising at 35,000 feet. Alright then, so airborne from Jakarta, heading... which way are we heading? East to Denpasar. As soon as we took off, my seat collapsed. I'm not even pressing the button, but yeah, the spring's broken in the seat or something. Oh, it's going dark. So yeah, the seat's broken. This probably explains why there's bits all sticking up in it. It's very uncomfortable. Not very nice, this, but hey, it's getting me where I need to go. And it didn't cost me too much money. I'll let you know how much at the end of the video, but this is not a luxurious way to travel. So then as we head across Indonesia on the super smelly Super Air jet, let's talk a little bit about the history of the airline I'm flying on tonight. We see Super Airjet's story is, well, just a little bit strange. They were founded by Lion Air, the Indonesian low-cost airline that seems to own almost every other airline in Indonesia, as well as some in Thailand and Malaysia too. What's strange is that Lion Air is already a low-cost airline, so Super Airjet have effectively been founded as a direct competitor to, well, Lion Air themselves, but with an added twist. You see, in the words of Lion Air's owner, Rusty Kirana, Super Airjet is a low-cost airline focused on tech-obsessed millennials, which seems a bit of a stretch considering their ancient A320s that are falling to bits and don't even have in-flight entertainment, in-seat power or Wi-Fi. But I guess they do have these prison jumpsuit style uniforms, which is pretty modern, isn't it? So I guess that's all okay then. Since they were founded in 2021, they've taken over 60 cheap Airbus A320s from Indigo and Tiger Australia, and they're still growing, competing with Lion Air and Batik Air and everybody else in Indonesia all across the country. Yeah, the weirdest thing is about this flight. The crew, when I got on board, were lovely, really, really nice, really friendly. But since we've taken off, we've not seen either air of them. And they said, if you want anything, just press your call button and we'll come. Other than that, they just sit in the galley. Okay, fair enough. Might be nice if they could come around offering, like, to buy on board and things so you don't feel like you're putting them out, but isn't that strange? Now I do have to admit, despite being less than 2 hours long, this flight did drag on quite a bit. Between the painful bits of metal sticking through the seat, the collapsing seat back and lack of legroom, not to mention the smell, this hop across Indonesia felt more like a transatlantic flight. But thankfully, eventually we started our descent down into Denpasar, Bali.
Sobat terhormat, kita baru saja mendarat di Bandara Udara Internasional Igusti Ngurah Rai di Denpasar, Bali.
The only saving grace for this flight was the price, and this did only cost me $46 US, or around 36 British pounds. The price was right, but as with all things travel, you often get what you pay for, and in this case, you don't get a lot other than crippling back pain and maybe a visit to the chiropractor.
Thank you, bye-bye. Welcome to Bali. That was not a fun flight. Let's see if we can get through the airport and get to my hotel.
I would like to say thank you to all of my patrons who get access to my amazing WhatsApp community, monthly Zoom calls and exclusive merch. Join them at the link on the screen now.
Alright, made it to my hotel. I'm staying at a place called the Airline here in Bali. Not far from the airport, it's about a 20-minute drive from the airport. This is not a bad room, is it? Look at this. Got like a living room, dining room thing here. Then we've got a balcony out there, look. Don't know what the view's like out there, but we can have a look at that in a bit. And then let's have a look through here. We've got a bathroom, shower, it's quite nice. And a separate bedroom over here. Very nice. Very nice, I like it. Right. Anyway, much nicer than my flight over. I mean, let's be honest, Super Airjet, they did a purpose, they fulfilled their purpose, they got me here cheaply. It wasn't glamorous, but they got me here cheaply. And I suppose that's the thing here in Indonesia, isn't it? You know, traditionally, aviation hasn't been that great over here, so the fact that the new airline's offering cheap flights to people all around the country, it's pretty cool really, even if the flights themselves aren't that nice to ride on, they're still helping to get people around the country, which is pretty nice, isn't it really? So anyway, well, let me know what you thought to Super Airjet down in the comments. I am super knackered now, so I'm going to go get some sleep, because then tomorrow morning I'm back at the airport and off somewhere else. Yay! So yeah, thanks ever so much for watching. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video. Take care, be kind to one another, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.